Good evening. Welcome to our Wednesday night lesson. We're continuing our series about children of the Bible, kids of the Bible. And tonight we're going to talk about a character who was a best friend, who was a great best friend. Do you have a best friend? I'm sure that you do. Can you tell me who your best friend is? You might even have more than one best friend. That happens to a lot of people. They're just such good friends. Maybe there's 3 or 4 of them, and they just kind of all consider themselves to be best friends. I think that having a best friend is a good thing. Do you think that? I try to think about something that you and your best friend do, maybe together. Maybe you bike ride. Maybe you go fishing. Maybe you are in a group like a dance group, or gymnastics, or football, or softball, baseball, t-ball. Maybe you do those things together. Maybe you and your best friend play at recess time with each other. Maybe you sit together at lunch. Have you ever had maybe a sleepover? Maybe you do sleepovers or play dates. Best friends are really something wonderful to have. And we do a lot of things with best friends. And I know there's sometimes maybe that we don't agree with our best friend. We usually make up, don't we? When you're that close to somebody, it doesn't take much to forgive and to love again and to remember why you're such good friends. So last week we talked about, I remember, he was going to be king for 40 years, David. We talked about David last week. And tonight we're going to talk about his best friend, Jonathan. Now, Jonathan wasn't technically a child in the Bible. Jonathan was actually a little bit older than David. And so when they met, he was late teens, early 20s. But I think it's important to talk about him. He was a young person. And I think it's important to talk about him and David and their bond. So I'm gonna read the story to you. You ready? Jonathan became totally committed to David, his number one advocate and friend. Jonathan, out of his deep love for David, made a covenant with him. That means a promise, a pact that they would have made. He celebrated with important gifts, his own royal robe and weapons, armor, sword, bow, and belt. So Jonathan's going to give these things to David. Jonathan is the king's son, so he would have been like a prince. So he would have been a very important person. He would have been a very wealthy person. And so he's giving his friend gifts. I'm sure you've given your friend gifts at birthday parties or when they come over. Okay, so that's what's happening here. Whatever King Saul gave David to do, he did it and did it well. Everybody approved of and admired David's leadership. As they returned home after David had killed the Philistine, the women poured out of the villages of Israel singing and dancing. Saul kills by the 1,000, David by the 10,000. This made Saul angry, very angry. He took it as a personal insult. From that moment on, Saul kept his eye on David. Now Saul feared David. It was clear that God was with David and had left Saul. Everything David did turned out well. Yes, God was with him. As Saul more and more realized that God was with David, his fear of David increased and settled into hate. I know that's a word that I don't let you use at church, but that's how strong of a feeling it was. Saul hated David. David went to Jonathan. What have I done to your father that makes him so determined to kill me? It's true. As sure as God lives, and as sure as you're alive right before me now, he is determined to kill me. Jonathan said, tell me what you have in mind. I'll do anything for you. David said, tomorrow I'm scheduled to eat dinner with the king. Instead, I'll go hide in the field. If your father misses me, say David asked if he could run to Bethlehem to worship with his family. If he says, good, then I'm safe. But if he gets angry, you'll know for sure that he's made up his mind to kill me. If I am in the wrong, go ahead and kill me yourself. Never, exclaimed Jonathan. I would never do that. If I get the slightest hint that my father wants to kill you, I will tell you. Jonathan repeated his pledge of love and friendship for David. He loved David more than his own soul. On the holiday of the new moon, the king came to the table to eat. He sat where he always sat, but David's seat was empty. After day 2, David's seat was still empty. Saul asked Jonathan, his son, so where's that son of Jesse? He hasn't eaten with us either yesterday or today. Jonathan said, David asked my special permission to go to Bethlehem. Saul exploded in anger at Jonathan. Don't you think I know that you're up to something with the son of Jesse? Now go get him. Bring him here. From this moment, he is as good as dead." Jonathan stood up to his father. "Why, Dad? What has he done?" Saul threw his spear at him to kill him. That convinced Jonathan that his father had decided to kill David. In the morning, Jonathan went into the field, and they kissed one another and wept, friend over friend, David weeping especially hard. Jonathan said, "Go in peace. The two of us will be friends in God's name forever." So I'm sure that there have been things in your life that maybe you leaned on a friend. Maybe you're having a hard time at home or a hard time at school. You might go to your best friend and you might talk to them and say, "What do I do?" Sometimes it's easier to talk to a friend than it is to talk to a parent or a grown-up. Sometimes it's just easier to tell somebody else something like that. And so that's what's happening here. They are such good friends, and he's noticing that Saul is getting angry. Remember, Saul was welcoming David in the beginning, and he's getting more and more jealous, and he's getting more and more angry. And David's noticing these things, and he's telling Jonathan, his best friend, I think your dad wants to kill me. And Jonathan, he's not convinced. He's like, it's his father. He doesn't want to think bad things about his father. And he says, no. So what they do is kind of a test. And it ends up that David is right and that Saul does intend to harm him. And Jonathan has to choose between his dad and his best friend. Who does he choose? He chooses that best friend. Now, that's not something that would be the same in our lives. We wouldn't necessarily choose a best friend over a parent. That's not the way to do things. But in this case, Jonathan's father wanted to harm David, and so he was protecting him. He was protecting his best friend. And I think that is an amazing show of friendship. And that's what we do for one. We lean in each other and we help each other. Even as grown-ups, did you know grown-ups have best friends? A lot of them do. And we lean on each other and we talk to each other, and we use our time on the phone or on chats or email or to talk to each other and give each other help and say, hey, it's going to be okay, or to help maybe solve a problem or a difficult time. And I know that maybe that's what you do on a smaller level with your best friend. Maybe you're having a hard time in school or at home. If you get frustrated with mom or dad, you're probably not going to talk to your brother or sister, but you might talk to your best friend, and maybe they'll say, hey, it's okay, it'll pass, or maybe here are some ideas. Or maybe you can do that for your friend. Do you do that? I hope that you do. And I hope that you are a super good best friend to your best friend. God wants us to be friends. God wants us to love each other. And even if you have a best friend and you still have other friends, always treat all of your friends as you love them. And include other friends. Make other friends. All right, so here's a little pop quiz I thought might be kind of fun for you. See if you can name that best friend. We're going to go over the TV, Gracie. Okay, so I'm sorry, I forgot to put this up here. This is our Bible verse. Greater love has no one than this, that one laid down his life for his friends. Being a friend is an amazing, amazing testament to God's word. All right, so now let's see if we can name that. So we know this is Arthur. Who knows Arthur's bestest friend in the whole world? Couple seconds. Anybody? Buster. Did you know that? Buster is Arthur's best friend. All right, let's go to the next one. Franklin. I love Franklin. Apparently people don't know who Franklin is. Go to the library. Look it up. Google it. Franklin is adorable. He's awesome. So Franklin the turtle. So odds are, according to Gracie, you would not know who his best friend is. But maybe somebody out there knows who his best friend is. Who is best friends with Franklin the turtle? Bear. Bear's his best friend. Does Franklin still come on TV? I'm not sure. He might not. But he's in books. And he's cute. And he's adorable. You should check him out. Okay. So how about Timon? You might know who Timon's best friend is. Am I saying that right, Timon? I am saying that right. Okay. This one should be an easy one. Everybody got this one? Pumbaa. Pumbaa and Timon are best friends. They do everything together. All right. How about Pooh? You don't have to love Pooh, but you know who Pooh is. Who is Winnie the Pooh's best friend? Piglet. They love each other so much. They're bestest friends. You say that? You say bestest friends? When I was younger, we said best friends forever. Now apparently it's BFFs. I hear Gracie say all the time, BFFs. So that's the new phrase. You have a BFF. All right. How about Daniel? I had to put this one on for Tobias. Does anybody know who Daniel Tiger's best friend is? Now, there is some debate among the toddlers and the preschoolers. But from what I have read at nighttime in the storybooks over and over and over and over and over again, from my assumption, I believe Katerina Kitty Cat is Daniel's best friend. Okay, so if you would like to debate me on this, please feel free in the comment section to say, no, I'm pretty sure it's Prince Wednesday or Miss Elena or Oh the Owl. I'd love to hear your comments on this, but I'm pretty sure it's Katerina. Okay, how about Charlie Brown? Who's Charlie Brown's best friend? Now, again, there's some debate on this because some people would say Snoopy is his best friend, but Snoopy is also his pet. So I was trying to go for same species best friend. So, who do you think Charlie Brown's best friend is? Linus. I think they have a great relationship. Linus kind of keeps Charlie Brown calm and, is the voice of reason. I think that they're great best friends. All right, how about this one? How about Woody? And I love that these two are best friends because sometimes our best friend, we don't start off loving the person in the beginning. First impressions are not always, I would say Buzz. What do you think, Gracie? Yeah, Gracie agrees. Buzz and Woody are bestest friends. And they have a great relationship. All right, let's see it up another. Oh, yeah. Now, I'm hoping I got this one right. Okay, so this is Harry Potter. This is a young Harry Potter, I guess.
Tell me both of them are on here.
Uh-oh, I may have screwed up. So who is Harry Potter's best friend? I may have messed up. I was pretty sure it was this guy.
It's Ron and Hermione.
Oh, okay. So if you guessed Hermione, then you would also be correct. But I thought it was that guy with the red hair. Okay.
That's Ron.
Okay. So how about Minnie Mouse? My girls out there. Minnie Mouse's best friend. Daisy. They have a boutique and everything. They're so cute. They are the bestest of friends. So, tonight we talked about best friends, and I think that being friends as kids is very, very important. I still remember my friends and best friends from when I was a child. They helped formulate who I was. And I know that that's what you have in your life. Now, right now, we're cut off. We are cut off from our friends. We're cut off from our best friends. We're cut off from our school friends, from our club friends, our gymnastics friends, and our dance friends. And that has been really hard for me as an adult. So I can imagine that's got to be really hard for you as a child. I know that you have your phones and your iPads and your Zoom calls, but it's not quite the same, is it? I miss my friends a great deal, and I know that you miss yours as well. So I thought for our craft tonight that maybe you could go old school. Apparently that's what they call it now if you're old and you do stuff back in the day. Old school, and write your friend a letter or a card and actually put it in the mail with the stamp on it and put it in the mailbox and flip the flag up and send your best friend a note. Just say, hey, thinking about you. Color them a picture. Write them a story. Do something like that. Make them, if you'd like to make them something, maybe a friendship bracelet or stickers, something. Send your best friend a card this week. I think that would be a super fun idea to remember what it's like to be friends. Now, David and Jonathan had a much harder way of being friends because they had to literally protect each other. They were really protected. He was protecting him from harm. And I'm so glad that we don't have to deal with that right now. That our friends get to be just that, our friends, and we get to learn from them and talk to them. So I will put up some other activities in the comment section. If you are an activity person, I know several of you are, you can print them off at home. Ask mom or dad to print them, and you can do those activities. So if you have done any of the crafts or would like to add to the Daniel Tiger debate or any of the other things that I got wrong, according to Gracie, please feel free to do so. But I hope that you have a good week, and that I hope you wash your hands and make time for friends this week. Okay?